think we're live. Am I right? Survey says, pang, yes we are. Am I right? Yep. As usual, Kearney, you are right. All right, cool. So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to do some social media boosting here. Boasting and boosting here. If you came in through the front door, then this is the illustration that we're highlighting today. Today we are going to be working on Druids. So I chose Nature's Ally as the illustration to highlight today's event. Let's see, what are we doing? Yeah, so we built this thing. It's a 5-color mana spell point variant rule system. It was developed for 5th edition. It was a response to the lack of Magic the Gathering mechanics in Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, Odysseys of Theros, and Strixhaven's Curriculum of Chaos. So since there was no color mana system provided in those books, we were still using Vancian magic and spell slots. So I'm a pretty big MTG enthusiast and a long-time D&D player, so that was like what got me into actually designing and publishing work for other people to consume. It was like, I know we can build a color mana system. I know it can be done. They just didn't, so let's do it. And I did, and I've been expanding on it ever since. So now that we have 2024 in place, we can update the classes, so we'll update the entire color mana system. We're working on the core mechanics right now. We've been working on Spellpoint Sorcerer, Spellpoint Warlock, Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica, Knights and Tricksters for Eldritch Knights and Arcane Tricksters. Those are all covering. We also have Spellpoint Artificers that's going to be coming into production this year, along with the Spellpoint Sorcerer book. So we have the core mechanics. I mean, these are all in the DMsGuild already. Hold on, let me get through my intro here real quick, and then I'll rant through this with you guys. So my name is Phil Kearney. Hey, I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And I've been a DM. Started with Dungeons and Dragons since 1987. I got into Magic the Gathering like around 1995. I started doing freelance illustration for fantasy genre stuff and commissions in 1999, and I started creating, like I said, in 2017 when Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica came out. That's when I started publishing content on my own. Prior to that, I had done a number of adventures and scenarios like Inkwell Ideas had hired me to do like maybe about 150 of those index, like those little playing card plot hook things. So that was a lot of fun. And then Ryan Langer, can't remember the name of his studio that he started. Sorry, Ryan. But he hired me to build layers for first, second, third, and fourth tier in the Adventures in Chronomancy. And he hired me to build the book cover for that. So that's how I got together with Ryan. So between Inkwell and Ryan, I was able to cut my teeth on like framing adventures or creating scenarios and maps and stuff. So I was like, this is actually a lot of fun. Why don't we start building books? And that happened to coincide with the time where I was transitioning out of, like, I was running into a dead end on commission work because I wanted to ratchet up my costs to try to make a living out of it, but that was the same time that broadband became globally available and print on demand was already established. So I was suddenly competing with people with maybe 15% of the annual household income that I needed to produce to stay afloat, being able to produce the same level of quality on Photoshop. So I'm like, so I had to move out of that market, and it has happened that by the time I decided to do this, I was looking at Guildmaster's Guide and was like, how about I just start making my own art for books that I create, so I don't have to worry about how much am I being paid as an artist. Instead, I can pour my heart into building these books and get paid for those. So I love painting. I love rambling on and yammering about stuff. So like streaming on YouTube seems like a natural thing to do. So just to cap everything off here, I'm on the X Twitter platform. If you're here, I'm at Phil Kearney, like my name. And this is where I'll post like when I'm live, coupons to different books that I participate or publish. works in progress, like this is the layouts that I'm currently working on for the Eberron adventure that I'll be publishing on DMsGuild later, like probably February or March next year. All these spots are like illustrations and maps and stuff that I get to do, and so there's a lot of them, and it's pretty exciting. But I do that in the mornings, Monday through Friday. In the morning, I do layouts and page art. You can see it from this morning as well if you want to go look at my live stream stuff. But otherwise, yeah, here on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of when I'm live in the future. Thank you, new subscribers. I really appreciate you guys taking an interest in the stuff that I'm doing here. Here's all the book, well, not all, but here's a slew of books. These are the books I'm highlighting currently for y'all to take a look at. They're self-published, so you can read all of them cover to cover. If you want to buy them, you'll be encouraging me to keep doing this and making more. And you'll get like all the maps, tokens, play mats, all the character, like all the bits that you use like for virtual tabletop or to run your games. That's all included in downloads. I just give you the text and the ideas and the artwork for how it works. And then if you want to implement it, you can buy it and use all the tools that I also build here on stream for you to do so. And you can see how that process goes. And I'll be doing Kickstarters. If I can get up to 5,000 subscribers, I'll start doing Kickstarters. And because then I should have enough momentum to be successful in them. And then when I do Kickstarters, whenever a project is funded, we'll build the entire thing here on screen. So you can just, if you're a supporter, you'll have a Discord channel and you can just chat at me while we're doing this, and you can help with art direction and help make it your own. That will be something that you'll be supporting as a Kickstart supporter. And if you want to be if you want to join my Patreon, you're certainly welcome to do that. I'll be posting stock art in the new year and start building stock art there that you can have licensed. Books here. Here's my Discord community. Here's the additional my Patreon. And so enough yammering. What are we doing here? The Martial Power. So we started with the Martial Power. Well, not started, but we've been working on the Martial Power system, which gives the martial classes a mana pool the same as the full casters do. Here, I'm going to drop down here and peel open. If you want to read along with me today, hear the Martial Power playtest content on my Patreon. You do not have to be a member of my Patreon, but bless you if you want to support me. Click the Martial Power button, and it takes you to the same document that you're looking at with me here right now. So it's a read-only for you. It's all like 140 pages of this are here for you to actually start using the system now if you want. And then on top of that, if you want to use it with the spellcasting system that we already have built, you can grab that here. 5-color mana spell point variant rules. Click that, takes you to DMsGuild. Here's the revised list of color magic. So you can, if you just want to grab the full-size preview, you get all the player's handbook spells broken down by their spell color, white, blue, black, red, green, and so like animal friendship is you're manipulating the emotions or the disposition of a creature. Red is like emotions. And then green is you're connecting with these animals or animal spirits. Then that's like a green energy. While things like, a really great one is Revivify. Revivify is white and black. Black is soul magic and individual identity, while white is divinity and healing. Green is also healing. It's like looking at Cure Wounds, for example. Good Berry is white and green. You're making berries that people eat, which is nature stuff. And it heals you, which is both white and green. So hence that. Cure Wounds on the next page. Cure Wounds, white and green, because there's both white and green magic. How do we figure this stuff out? There's 5 colors, white, blue, black, red, green. And here's some of the major aspects of magic. These are like mechanics or ideas that exist inside of basically every D&D campaign. So if you frame the idea of the magical effect or the thing that a creature is doing or an item, if it can be expressed in these ideas, then these are the colors that it would naturally be. And if there's damage, here's the 10 types of magical damage that exist in the game. And here's their color breakdown, which is basically cultivated from a couple thousand Magic the Gathering cards. So you can grab a Magic the Gathering card that's like Lightning Bolt, for example, that's a red spell. So Lightning Bolt is a red spell. Fireball is a red spell. Fireball is a red spell. Virtually there's like one Magic card in existence that deals damage that is lightning damage, and it's a blue card. There's like one. So it's clearly red, even though lightning comes from the sky, right? It's not an elemental system that we're playing with right now. It's a magic system. So combine the damage that your spell does and some of the effects or the framing in which the spell is created, or what its purpose is or origin from, and that gives you an idea of what colors it could be. It could be multiple colors. So it could, if I want to cast, well, cantrips are free. So if I want to cast Armor of Agathis, it's a first level spell. I will need 1 point of either white, blue, or green mana. And if you want to go back here in the full list here, let's just peel open Spell Point Warlocks. They're the quickest for us to find. We're going to be rebuilding this for 2024 as well. So go down here to the Universal Spell Point in the High Magic system that we use as our base template, and then we apply, we then overlay it with a magic paradigm. The 8 schools of magic paradigm is, conjuration, abjuration, divination, blah-de-blah, necromancy, transmutation. They break down, like those are the 8 schools of magic that they provide. But other than that, it's kind of, it's text. There's not much narrative that goes on that distinguishes conjuration from, like, say, necromancy, other than the effect of it. But like with the color mana system, if I'm going to throw a fireball, I'm actually generating or using red magic to make that spell happen. So like if I'm fighting a demon and its eyes flash red, it might be ready to hit me like with a hellish rebuke or something. As opposed to like if I'm fighting Asmodeus or a devil or something, its eyes flash white, it might, because like contracts and bindings and agreements, that's very white energy. While black is very selfish, like devils versus demons. Demons are black, red, Rakdos style. Devils are blue, black, Dimir style of manipulating you. So, I'm sorry. I missaid that. It's Orzhov style. Blue, black and white is Orzhov, where they're basically making contracts to damn you and to take away from you in the long run. Like to imprison your soul forever. That's a very white-black agreement that you would make. So if a devil eyes flash white, it might be ready to be casting like some sort of like hold person, or like a force cage, or some sort of restraint spell. That would make a lot of sense to do that. And if it just tries to tear your soul out, that would be black magic. So the progression is from level 1 to 10. First level spell costs 1 point. 9th level spell costs 9 points. Yes, we have a 10th level spell at 19th level, and that one spell that exists is Wish. So you don't get access to Wish until 19th level, and you can't start doing goofy stuff with it until 20th. And we provide all the rules down here if you want to look at them. But the mechanics is basically first level spell, 1 point of mana. And then if we go back to the color mana system here, we know that if I wanted to cast, a first level spell, if I wanted to cast Find Familiar, I would have to have a point of green mana in my mana pool. Whenever I finish a short or a long rest, regardless of how much mana I have left, as long as I have any, I can swap out what color that mana is. But if I want to restrain myself and make it challenging for me to adhere to a tighter Ludo narrative, if I'm an Orzhov wizard, then I only have white and black mana. So that means that I can't cast say Hail of Thorns, because that's a green spell normally, and Orzhov only gets white and black magic, so I wouldn't have access to that. So what you can do is you can research the spell to be the color that you want, and thus you have a reason for downtime activity, gold, and in the Ravnica system, renown. The more renown you have, the more access you get to magic. Super cool. So a really high renown character can basically have open books and just can basically take any spell that they want and make it the color that they want, basically for free time spent. So otherwise, if you don't have the time and you really need that spell, you can learn it twice. In its native color, it's like its native devoted color, or you could, and then you learn it a second time and devote it to whatever color you want. So you can manipulate the number of spells that you have, or like if you're playing like a Dominaria game or like Ixalan, where it doesn't really care about specific colors so much, then you could just like have as many colors as you want. I'm going to have some white, blue, and red today. Tomorrow I'm going to go all green and black. So like you can swap it around if you want. But if you're playing in one of the settings that's bound to specific colors, like like I don't know the name. I don't know Theros like hardly at all. But like if your like patron god is is it Morgul, the black white god of violent chaos and death, your mana pool would be black and red. It's very demon in nature. So if that was your patron god that you're building piety with, then you would want your mana pool to be aligned with that god and then go through that process. And the higher level you get in piety, the higher level spells it lets you be able to just automatically swap by praying to them. Even if you're not a cleric, a druid or a wizard or a warlock that had Morgul as their patron god would be able to, like at higher, like 50 piety is the same as renown. So at 3 renown, you could get free access to, like, whenever you learn a new spell, one of them they could be any color that you want. It could be any spell you want, but it's the colors that your god guides you through. So it could be like that. Strixhaven has the 5 colleges, just like Ravnica has the 10 guilds using the 2-color combo system. That's how the system works. So since we now have new 2024 books out, it's time for us to start updating stuff. So the Eberron project that I do in the mornings, Monday through Friday, that's my primary project. So what that means is that when I'm not on camera and I have time to work, I'm doing page layouts, tokens, artwork, and stuff like that for that. And then in the morning I come on and I show you the kind of artwork that I'm doing, and we keep pushing the ball down the field. And then on my design days, I have Tuesday and Friday lunch, I have Monday and Thursday night like this, and then I have my Saturday morning brunch stream. So I've got 5 days in the morning, and then off time goes to Eberron until that project is done, and then I move the next project forward and onto my workbench as the next thing to do. But my downtime with the design here, this is when we're working on all the color mana stuff. Color mana works just fine as it is. If you just want to swap out your spell slots and your spell points and just drop the mana system in instead, it works as is. But 2024 created a bunch of really cool resources and interactions and character progressions that we can lean into and have fun with using the mana system. So we're converting them over to the mana system and looking at what needs to be changed, what could be changed, and should we, and how do we do it. So that's what we're doing on these design streams here. We'll eventually publish this stuff. I'm just kind of poking at all of them, moving them all forward at the same time, cleaning up the classes, cleaning up the subclasses, and then we're going to go through the spells, and then we'll go through, because they made changes in 2024 to a lot of spells, so we need to make sure that what we have in the player's handbook is consistent with what the 2024 books now do, because there's like concentration and levels and damage and stuff like that to consider. So we need to spend time considering it. So that's what we'll be doing on these design streams. And once Eberron is done, we'll probably slide the color mana project forward, whether we have artwork to do or not. We'll probably push it forward to the Monday to Friday, and then we'll probably start working on our Bastions conversion guide. So that'll be in 2025. So stick around. We're just gonna keep building stuff. So today we're working on the Druid. So there's very little changes that we needed to make to the cleric. Virtually none. This is super cool. I am smoothing out the prep spell list because they tend to bunch up a little bit in the middle using the player's handbook. Oh, where is the player's handbook? D&D Beyond coming at you right now. All right, collections, game rules, classes. That was my 20-minute timer to let me know that if I'm on a tangent, I need to wrap it up. Which means I basically went through all that in about 15 minutes. So for those that have been here before, thanks a lot for sticking around. In the future, when I start ranting like this, you can probably afford to skip forward 10, 15 minutes into the stream to catch up on the new on the new groove. So here we are, grooving new. Yeah, Nature's Spirit, or Nature's Ally. That was a really fun Strix class that I built between the Wizard and the Druid, basically blending their conjuring abilities. But now that we got rid of all the conjuring stuff, I'm going to need to update this too. So we'll get to it. Here's a bunch of book covers that I made. Definitely check out the Spelljammer book. That shit is cool. So I'm just gonna have this step aside for now. And okay, so let me pull this free here into a separate. Wrong one, Kearney. We're gonna be doing some mega dungeon treasure maps for playtesting. For the martial power system, level 3 through 10, starting, I think, November 10th. Maybe, no, I mean the 11th. It's either going to be on Mondays or Saturdays that we play. But it just depends. I'm going to post to my Patreon tonight to ask people if they want to... what day is the best for them? If you contribute $1, if you're a $1 subscriber, you get first rights to seats if the day that you want is the one that's selected. You select that day, and if the majority is you, then if you voted, you get a seat. If we run out of seats, we'll raffle. But otherwise, if I don't have enough seats off the Patreon to automatically fill the roster, go to my Discord, and the Patreons will determine what day it's going to be on. And then on Discord, we'll fill in the empty seats. And then we'll build characters at 3rd level. And we'll drop you into a mega dungeon. And you'll find more treasure maps in the mega dungeon to lead you to other random maps that we build. We're basically doing Atlas maps from Path of Exile using the mana system that we're developing here. So let's go to Druid. And Druid progression table. We'll probably put in maybe 2 hours tonight. And then we're going to be back tomorrow at lunch to continue doing this work. But I don't think I'm going to need more than 2 hours tonight to finish the Druids. I'm not sure of it. So let's go with Wild Shape. I have thoughts about Wild Shape. I have many, many thoughts about Wild Shape. One of the things that I'm really thinking about, quite frankly, is one of the books that I will be creating once it comes up on the workbench is Oops All Warlocks, where every spellcaster, every full caster is a warlock instead of their normal progression. So every class can use, and then the half casting classes. All of these classes use mana on a short rest. So if we Oops All Warlocks, all the full casters, then all the 13 classes, including Artificer, in D&D can all be short resource dependent. So you can pace your adventuring day not around the long rest, but around the short rest. So sure, you've got your high magic that you're going to cast for your 6th to 10th level spells as you get up there in levels, and you only get one. So you got to really make sure you're covering your bases there, but it also makes your team less dependent on magic at higher levels. It pushes you more into an exploration space of the game because you can't just press a magic button to solve your problems unless one of your 7th level spell is Etherealness. That's the only one you get until you gain another level. So if you guys don't plan on going ethereal ever, that's a stupid selection. Pick the spells that you know you're going to need, and that's all you get. Otherwise, you're going to have to lean into doing rituals and ability check casting to be able to cast those high-level spells using the Theurgy system that I have on the DMsGuild, which I will also be updating for 2024. So keep an eye on all that shit, and when we fold it all together, I'll probably just make a creative contents alternate D&D 5e game on ttrpg. And if you guys think this stuff is cool, it'll be system neutral. Like, it won't be Magic the Gathering. It'll probably be elemental magic or just generic magic based on how I want to run that. But I'm really interested in the 4 elements as a base paradigm for D&D. And so keep an eye out for that. Let's shift in my seat again. And so we have Wild Shape, cantrips, max level. We have the Druid here. Prepared spells is 4, 5, 6, 7. And then it does that. It goes 9, 10, 11, 12, and then it skips 14, 15, 16, and then 16, then 17, 17, 18, 18, and then check this out, 19, 20, 21, 22. You have the same curvature at the top tier where you do not need more spell power. You get more and more spells poured in at the same clip that you're getting spells at the first levels. I think it's because they want you to round it off. Like when you... Well, I mean, this is a Druid. You can just prepare as many fucking spells as you want per day. You don't need to stack them on like that. So what I did is I smoothed out the curve. Prepared spells. You start with 4 just like they do. And instead of 22, we're going to end you with 23 spells. So you go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It kind of just makes sense, right? So there's some inconsistency on the amount of cantrips that you receive, and I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. Cantrips 2. And then when we get our next cantrip, 3 at 4th. Are we going to get 4 at 10th by chance? Hey, look at that, 4 at 10. That's pretty consistent. I like the consistency in this patterning here. When there's consistent, why couldn't they do that with subclasses, right? Am I right? I still think they should get another cantrip like around here. Maybe here. What is the scaffold on that? It starts at 1 and goes to 3. 1 plus 3 plus 6. You can't go 12. 3, 6, 8. Huh. 3, 3. Three. How does that go? 2. Oh. I see what I did. Dirt. 3 levels. What if I did 3 more levels? 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 on 13. 7, 8. So you'd end up with 8 cantrips. 2, 3, 4 on 12. 5. Oh, whatever. I'm not going to stress over it. It's just a cantrip. Wild Shape, how does that progress? Where'd my mouse go? There it is. 2 at 2nd. 3 at 6. Oh, yeah? 4 at 17. No. Yeah, 4 at 17. Huh. I wonder why that's different. Now I want to go look at the cleric. I'm like, did I do the cleric wrong? Let's check real quick. No, it gets it at 18. I don't know. If there's a pattern there, I don't see it yet. I'm gonna have to spend more time studying. There must be. It would not surprise me if these decisions were made by the feels. There seems to be a lot of feels going on with 5th edition in general in WotC. It's that whole rulings, not rules vibe that allows them to not have to think too deep about the book that they're designing and force you to think a lot deeper. Proficiency, class features. Okay, so we're on the class features. Spellcasting, Druidic, Primal Order. And then number 2 is Wild Shape, Wild Companion. 3 is Druid subclass. Yeah, we got stuff to say here. I am very looking forward to this. Number 5 is Wild Resurgence. Subclass feature. Ooh, God, is the scaffold still the same? Looking forward to finding out. Elemental Fury. Ever notice how the Druid scaffolding seems just to be the clerics with more specific things? Like instead of Channel Divinity, you've got Wild Shapes, which is effectively like a Nature's Channel Divinity feature, which tells you you could probably afford to ramp up the power of Channel Divinity features. They get Wish. I don't know. They didn't get Wish before, but it's just an observation. It's been sticking in my craw lately. But Elemental Fury and Divine Strikes or whatever, it's basically, I'm pretty sure it's the exact damn same thing. 10 is subclass feature. Skip 11, go to 12, then ASI. Skip 13, drop in a subclass feature on 14. Hey, what's up? OMG Low LZ. What up, what up? What's your all-time favorite class? Oh, God. Fuck. It's a great question, my guy. I used to be, in 2nd edition, I was a huge Scion enthusiast because the spell point system, or the psionic strength point system, and like the 300 psionic powers with a point value, really just got me into spell points in general. That is like a big callback for the stuff that I do. In 1st edition, I liked the Ranger the most because they're really tough and they had more environmental interaction than anyone else. In Beckme, I tend to go with Cleric for support. And Undead, chasing off Undead, super fucking important in Beckme. In 3rd edition, I was a huge fan of Book of Nine Swords. I loved the Sword Sage. My favorite build was Sword Sage, Warlock, Telflamar Shadow Pouncer. By the time you got to level 22, you could teleport on a move, you could teleport on an action, you could teleport on a bonus action, and you could teleport on a swift action by buffing out what your spell sword. It wasn't called spell sword. It wasn't Sword Saint. That doesn't sound right. Fuck, I had the name. I don't want to go back and listen to it. But one of the Book of Nine Swords martial characters that got all the different martial powers. That is the homage that I'm building in the martial power system here. But by the time you got to level 22, the Telflamar Shadow Pouncer got to level 7. You had enough levels of Warlock to get all the invocations that you needed to buff out your Eldritch Glaive. And you had enough swords. I guess it. No, it's was it Sword Sage? Yeah, I think it was Sword Sage. And you had enough levels of Sword Sage to get those 5 pieces of action economy to all be teleportations. Because at 7th level, the prestige class for the Telflamar Shadow Pouncer gave you a full attack every time you teleport. So if I can teleport 5 times, and as a 13th level Warlock, I was able to. No, it was a 11th level Warlock. I could make 3 attacks with my Eldritch Glaive as a full attack action. It's like multi-attack now. So every time I triggered a teleportation, I could make 3 attacks. So with 5 teleportations, I can make 15 attacks per round at reach, dealing force damage, like around 66 force damage per hit. Yeah, and then it would take me 2 rounds to be able to recycle all of those teleportation abilities. So I would just go on full defense and let my team like dog tactic in with like wolf tactic in with me. I could teleport in, do a burst, and then teleport out. Then they could follow in behind me. Then I could teleport, and then bounce out. So I could pace myself to be able to regain all these abilities while I was weaving my attack actions in with my allies. In 4th edition, didn't play. I played Sorcerer in 4th edition, but I didn't really like it. I love 4th edition for Gamma World, though. The 4th edition Gamma World is fucking awesome. Highly recommend. And for 5th edition, I like either Divine Sorcerer or an Artificer. I think are the 2 that I have the most fun with. I've played multiple Divine Sorcerers. I love the flexibility. So I'll probably end up loving playing the Bard because they have that huge flexibility that they have. That was a real game, but I also really love meta magic. And when you're using spell points, which in the Curse of Strahd game I get to play in, they're letting me use my own spell point sorcerer, so I get to I get to learn as many meta magics as I want instead of spells. But when I learn spells, they can be sorcerer or cleric, and my entire mana pool can be spent on either spells or on meta magic at any time that I want. And I can stack meta magic effects. So I have a very liquid resource system for my sorcerer to be able to do whatever I want with. And it's a worshiper of Selûne, so it's white and green magic. So to curve in all that power, I'm using the color magic paradigm, and all the spells that I want are white and green. So it works out really fucking well. Artificer, I love the resources of Artificer and how much it kind of leans into the art, like into the Rangers, like the Battlesmith has like that Rangers companion vibe going for it. I have a Raz is a 7th level Rakdos Kobold Artificer Battlesmith. So he's running around on a Hellmetal Hellhound mount, and he himself is a Kobold Artificer devoted to Rakdos. So Ravnica character. So yeah, Artificers and Sorcerers are my jam, or have been. So far so good. I haven't tried 2024 yet. I've only been designing and starting into playtesting for 2024. So on my normally weekly game, I play kind of like a Beckney Cypher game that I'm playtesting. So I haven't, and my Curse of Strahd game hasn't switched over to 24 yet. They're actually going to finish Curse of Strahd before we switch over, so it'll be a while. But I will be using 2024 mechanics in my Martial Powers playtesting that we're starting in November. So was that a thorough enough answer? Yeah, man. Right on. Oh, I love this shit. It's so fucking fun, man. So fucking fun. 11, 12, we're at 14. Subclass feature. 15 is Improved Elemental Fury. Yeah, that makes sense. Improved Elemental Fury Elemental. 16 ASI. Skip 18 Beast Spells. I like seeing that at 18th level instead of 20th. And then Archdruid. Alright, we have our base scaffold done. We are not doing subclasses today. We're going to be doing that. Once I get through tomorrow, we're going to probably be working on the Sorcerer. And then Saturday, Warlock and Wizard. Which means that when we come back around Monday night again, we'll then be able to start doing subclasses. So we get all the class scaffolding done, and then we come back through and we do all the subclasses. Like if you check out, if you don't know this book here that we're building inside of, here's the Martial Powers playtest document link here on my Patreon, and then you can click the Martial Power button, and it'll take you to the same document that I'm working on right now. For you, it'll be read only, but you can read the entire thing. So if you want to start using these mana ideas, you can do so right now. And of course, the Martial Power system, the color mana system in general is here on DMsGuild, which you can get to through this link here. So if you think this shit is cool, check out the free previews for all of it. It's got everything you need to actually play. If you decide that you want to support this kind of activity, you can buy some of it. So cheers and thanks. So now that we have all these features, we can start drilling through the actual features. So let's go here. Our objective right now is to see what needs to be. I mean, we had the base mana conversion, and again, it's 1 point per level. So level 1 is only 1 point. Level 7 is 7 points. There you go. So the structure is very simple, and that simplicity allows us to be able to more easily gauge. Like I want you to be able to have access to it. Like for example, if we go and look, I just copy pasted this. So the Channel Divinity feature, you can regain a spent Channel Divinity if you want to spend 2 mana on it. And at some point, like at level 17, when you're packing, how much mana you got at level 17? Like 35? No, 65. Sorry, yeah, 65 fucking points. I mean, it'll cost you 9 points to cast a 9th level. If you cast a 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, 6th level spell, 9, 8, 7, 6, that's 30 mana right off the top of your character. And you cap at 80. If you use the 10th level epic progression that we suggest, like Wish is a 10th level spell at 19th level, and then you can do all the weird stuff with Wish at 20th, it helps curb your power spike in the 4th tier. And I've ran 4 campaigns from level 1 to 20, so it's not like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. There's a severe power surge once your characters get access to that. You're basically on cleanup duty until the campaign caps off. So by pushing Wish back to 19th and 20th level, you push back campaign cleanup. Like as soon as they get Wish, the campaign is over. They're just tying off loose ends and settling grudges with whoever it is that the characters want to have grudges with since first level. And a 1 to 20 campaign is a pretty intense emotional dive for everyone that gets to stick through the entire 20 level. It's yeah, you get attached after a while. So there's grudges and there's like make goods and all sorts of stuff and like telling your own prologue or your own epilogue is basically what Wish lets you do. By 18th, 19th, my 19th, 20th level, that's appropriate. And it's a good way to cap off your campaign and give you a reason to start a new one. Like, yeah, my characters made their wishes, and so now they've shut down the campaign and we're going to start a new one. And since I roll consecutive campaigns, the things that you change in one campaign typically has a 2 campaign delay time. So like when my characters freed Warforged in Eberron and restored their memories so they knew who they actually were before their souls were taken from eternity and shoved into these material bodies, they wake up and they know who they are now. So that was like the big goal of that campaign. Well, 2 campaigns later, and now we're in a space where all the Warforged know who they are. They have personalities, identities, and memories. The only problem is that they have no legal rights. So they have to start all over from scratch. So they went into orbit where they don't have to breathe or worry about eating, and they just mine asteroids out there. That's where they're building their wealth, is in the asteroid belt. So they're spacers now. The belt of power. So that's like where our Eberron campaign went. It became a Spelljammer campaign at some point, and that's how we're bending the world around it. So if you run campaigns like that, you can have your characters like plug in how do we want the world to change, and then over time, if you keep sticking at that same table, you see those changes implemented, and it's pretty amazing. So pushing wishes back and like not being able to make a wish foundation wishes. Not being able to do that until 20th level after you get your cast any spell that you want Wish at 19th level, then you get that true power and you have a reason to cap your campaign. So anyway, that's that structure there, which is why you have 10th. But if you use that mechanic and use the 10th level, which you could also upcast a 9th level spell to 10th if you wanted, so there you go. But if you use the 10th, that means that you need 40 mana out of the 80 that you get, which means that if you're going to burn all your high level spells for the day, you only have 40 mana to lob 5th level spells, 4th level spells. I mean, it costs 5 mana to lob a 5th level spell. So like you can burn through your mana if you push your characters and challenge them a lot. They can sizzle through low level shit enough to they're like, yeah, I've got like I can like hold on to my 7th and my 9th level spell. You know, or like I'm gonna hold on to like my 9th and my 8th. That's pushing me. Like if you really push your characters, they can drain through mana. It's really nice. It's really freaking fun. So, but yeah, that was the point. The Channel Divinity. This is like a mana feature, right? So you only get Channel Divinity. You only get 1 back on a short rest. So if you want to, you can start burning down your mana pool, and like a cleric that gets like a +10 divine strike bonus, like a +10 to hit, costs you 2 mana to do that. Most people, like at 15th level, are going to argue, yeah, I'll burn 30 mana on that over the course of the day. Fuck yeah, that's like a guaranteed hit. I only get 1 attack per round anyway. Set me up. Or if you multi-class, like into like 11th level fighter, second level, it would be 6th level cleric to get it's 3rd level to get that subclass feature, that +10 bonus. You can go 3 levels cleric and like 7 levels fighter to get your 2 attacks. You could burn mana on demand. Every time I want to make an attack, I can just burn 2 mana to get my Channel Divinity back to add +10 to my hit. For a fighter with a small mana pool that's looking to drain that to be able to get a ramp, that's actually like an Eldritch Knight Druid cleric blend like that. It's actually a really fucking cool build, because the fighter is going to get 1 to 20 mana on a short rest. So a 7th level fighter basically has 3 uses of that before taking a short rest. So 3 times you can get a +10 bonus to your attack roll. If you're playing a sniper build, that's a really fucking good build. So put that on your rogue, and then give them a 1-point vanish ability, so they're invisible for the rest of the round. And then they can sneak up and hit you with the +10 divine bonus, and like that's a good use of 3 mana for a rogue when they really need to stick a landing. It's like shit like that. The way that I'm building the system, it wants you to lean into multi-classing, so that you can find these cool little mana combos, because they're all working off of the same resource pool. And so it's not like you're making one crazy over the other. It's like they all work together that way, so you can have a consistent mana cost across all 13 classes, and it actually works, which is the glory of having a 1-to-1 point ratio on casters when you rein in the amount of mana they can actually use, because these casters, they all have a little less mana than they normally be able to do if you just allocate it in the spell slots. Full casters are like 10 short. So like you're basically cheating them out of a 9th level spell by doing it this way. But it makes sense that a 1st level spell, that a 9th level spell is 9 times more powerful than a 1st level spell. But the DMG 2014, it's 2 points for a 1st level spell and 13 points for a 9th level spell, which means according to Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, a 9th level spell is only 6.5 times more powerful than a 1st level spell. And that's just stupid. Forgive me for being judgy, but this is such a much better system, and there's so much you can fucking do with it. It's like they knew they could do this, and they decided not to because they're saddled with this Vancian system. So to keep people using Vancian and saying, why the fuck aren't we using spell points? They made spell points stupid. That's a personal theory. I have no idea, and I doubt I'd ever get a straight answer. But anyway, I am punching up. Forgive my comedic experience here, but I can do that. They're a multi-billion-dollar corporation, Hasbro, and so I should. What is going on with my mouse? Thank you. I've got this crazy time delay going on with my mouse these days. So spellcasting is fine. We have a whole chapter about that in the mana book. Spell slots, we know we swapped those out. Fuck you. We don't have to worry about prepared spells. It's just as is. That's fine. Change your spells. Yep. Finish a long rest. You can change your list of prepared spells, replacing any of the spells you want with new ones. Sure. Spellcasting focus, that's fine. Spellcasting ability. So the way that the system works is that if... here you go. Basic rules. Below is the full casting class rebuild for Color Mana 2024. If a feature is not listed on the progression table, it has been removed. If a feature is listed on the progression table but not described further below, it is unchanged. And if a feature is listed on the progression table and described further below, it's either a new feature or a variant rule modifying the current feature. So we did the Bard already 2 episodes ago. We did... Oh, shit. Did I modify the wrong one? Okay, that's fine. God damn it. I somehow blanked. I somehow blanked out, and I had the cleric built, and somehow I've decided to fucking erase it. So I'm going to take this scaffold here real quick. I'm going to hit copy, and now I'm just going to rewind the fuck out of this and see if I can get back to the beginning of the cleric. God bless. Lucky me. Blump. Now we've got the Druid. All as it should be. Hey, I haven't caught up on text. Sorry. Sounds quite efficient. You know. I've been using it for 7 years in various campaigns. I've used it in a 1 to 20 campaign. It's as well. I would say my players probably would agree that it's a pretty good system. So it always comes down to preference, whatever you want. Druidic. You know Druidic, the secret language of Druids. While learning the ancient tongue, you also unlock the magic of communicating with animals. You always have the speak animals spell prepared. That's great. You can use Druidic to leave hidden messages. You and others who know Druidic automatically spot such a message. Others spot the message's presence with a successful 15 intelligence investigation check, but can't decipher it without magic. Primal Order, you have dedicated yourself to one of the following sacred roles of your choice. Let's see if I need to modify them. Magician, you know one extra cantrip, that's fine. In addition, your mystic connection to nature gives you a bonus to your intelligence checks. The bonus is equal to your wisdom modifier. That's a really great feature. And then Warden, train for battle. You gain proficiency with martial weapons and training with medium armor. And with the martial power system we have, when you're proficient with a weapon, it means you can automatically use the weapon masteries associated with that weapon if you have martial training. So this is train for battle. So this Warden would allow you to use martial weapons and their masteries. The difference is that martial power characters, with the abilities that they learn, they can choose feats without ability score bonuses or prerequisites. So you can learn 4th level stuff at 1st level as a prepared power if you want. You also have damage types. So the 10 types of damage, basic damage, just whenever you hit somebody, if you have this acid prepared, you can just always deal acid damage. It comes in really handy. And the other thing is combat masteries, which are prepared. Which means if I prepare the Graze weapon mastery, I can use Graze with any weapon I'm proficient with because I prepared it. And that allows us to open up additional masteries that aren't in the player's handbook, that aren't associated with any weapon. You have to prepare it if you want access to it, like grapple. When you use a weapon, you can grapple using that weapon. And then we have the grappler build, the close quarter combat ability, which is when you learn this ability. Give me a second. I really love this thing. Close quarter combat. When you have this power, you have to sustain it. So it's like it's like an effect that you concentrate on that doesn't require concentration. It just eats up concentration space. So while you're sustaining it, it's only 1 mana. And you gain the grappling mastery for free, so it's already gained itself just as learning it. But in addition, while you're using the grappling mastery to grapple a target with your weapon, if the target breaks the grapple, you can make an opportunity attack against them with the grappling weapon. So if you have, like I was talking about this before, like if you use your sword to like create an armbar or like a shoulder lock, and it breaks out of it, you can just use the weapon to cut them on the way out as an opportunity attack. And unironically, when you make that opportunity attack, you can trigger another grappling check. So if they get out of grappling, it forces your target to have to make a grappling check. So it's like, that's a really fucking great action loop to put a creature inside of to keep them locked down. But you have to specifically pick. Like, this is a sustained power that I'm choosing to learn with my martial character. And of course, only martial characters can learn that. So there's a whole bunch of really cool shit in here that makes your characters really good control characters. So, but I digress. I'm geeking out again. So, but yeah, this martial training. So, I don't need to make mention of that in the core mechanics book, but I do need to make mention that this is something that they can have access to in the martial powers book. So when I build that out, when we go down to the character classes that we have built out for this, like we built out the barbarian and the fighter and all the subclasses for them and how they're modified, and hey, look, they get bonus powers just like spellcasters get bonus spells. Fuck you. So fighter, rogue, monk, all of them, and all the subclasses for all of them, they're already good to go. We're going to start playtesting that in about 4 weeks, 3 weeks. But then at the end of all this, then we have like how do you deal? Like we have the half casters, a paladin, and the ranger, and all their subclasses, and then we go into the warlock and artificer. We have them built out the way that they're supposed to be built, and then after that, subclasses, get through that stuff, get through. Okay, there we go. Multi-class with spellcasting, and then we go down to the end of that, and then we can have spellcasters, power gears, and magic items. Spellcasters using power, like druidic martial order equals can use weapon masteries with the with any weapon they're proficient with. See, there you go. But they can't learn masteries like you can, like a fighter could. So I could use grapple on any weapon that I know, including my fists or my like tusks or something. But for these spellcasters, if they're proficient with the weapon and they took that feature, there you go. They can learn it. So we're gonna loop through here. This warden, that's what it's called. Druidic order warden. Is that how that goes? Primal order. Thank you. This is the work. This is how it goes. I do this on stream mostly just to talk about this shit because it's fucking fun, and occasionally I get like really cool ideas from people. So it's great to be able to see who pipes up and offers something neat. Otherwise, it's just, showing you guys what's going on. Wild Shape, that comes in at Wild Shape and Wild Companion. I really am not happy that they don't provide the levels. Like when you're looking at these lists here, like Wild Shape, like especially the subclasses. God, the subclasses are the worst. What level do you get Star Map at? Presumably it's going to be 3rd level, right? But what about Cosmic Omen? When do you get that? Maybe at 6th? It's not intuitive. Because they don't have a scaffold in the subclasses. Here, check this out. Just go back there real quick. Circle. There's no scaffold. Like there used to be. Circle the Sea, at level 3 you get this, at level 6 you get this, at level 10 you get this, at level 14 you get this, and it'll tell you the class features. So you know what the fuck they are. And then, during the playtest, they were saying level 3, Wrath of the Sea. Level 3, Circle of the Sea spells. Those don't exist anymore, so I'm kind of guessing, like is Aquatic Affinity, is that 3rd level or is that 6th level? Because, oh no, that would be 6. But like, there's instances like when you get multiple things at the same, like in a row. Like I think Paladin gets like 2 or 3 things at one level. It's like, does all that happen on one level, or is there like 2 levels on 3rd and like 2 on 6th, or how's that break up? You honestly don't know. It literally doesn't fucking tell us, and I don't know why it hasn't been fixed yet. It's really frustrating. So level 2 variant is, anyway, I'm ranting again. Forgive me. I keep punching up. Because they piss me off so much that they don't. Infinite resources, and they cut corners. So Primal Order is resolved. We don't have to do anything for Primal Order in this book, so we just leave it blank. Wild Shape, level 2. Variant, Wild Shape. I'm pretty sure we're going to be making a change to this. Power of Nature allows you to assume the form of an animal as a bonus action. You shapeshift. Ooh, is that a technical term now? Lets you shapeshift. Its description specifies what happens to you. Unless that description says otherwise, any ongoing effects on you, conditions, spells, curses, and the like, carry over from one form to the other. You revert to your true form if you die. Into a beast form, if you have that you have learned. For this feature, see known forms below. You stay in that form for a number of hours equal to half your druid level or until you use wild shape again. Have the incapacitated condition or die. You can also leave the form early as a bonus action. Start it, end it, bonus action, bonus action. Number of uses. You can use wild shape twice. You regain 1 expended use when you finish a short rest, and you regain all of them when you finish a long rest. You gain additional uses when you reach certain druid levels, as shown below, the same as cleric. Known forms. Here you go. Bob is your uncle. Rules while shape-shifted. While in this form, you retain your personality, memories, ability to speak, and the following rules apply. And the following rules apply. Temp HP. Equal to your druid level. Wow, that's it? Jeez, that's great. Game experience. Game statistics. Your game statistics are replaced by the beast's stat blocks, but you retain your creature type, hit points, hit dice, int, whiz, ca, class features, language, and feats. You also retain your skills and saving throw proficiencies and use your proficiency bonus for them. In addition to gaining proficiencies of the creature. If a skill or saving throw modifier in the beast stat block is higher than yours, use that one instead. Can't cast spells, but you can maintain them. Objects, so it says you can't cast spells, but you can use the magic action. Worth noting, Paladin Smite is now a spell. I will also point out, if you decide to use the martial power system, channeling power is specifically not spell casting, which means that if you take a primal form as a druid and you happen to know martial powers, you can use them while you're an animal burning through your druid's mana pool. It's really fucking nice. It's really, really nice. And when we do Oops All Warlocks, we'll be converting the wild shape into invocations. I had a druid run a time travel Eberron campaign with me, and she used the Warlock frame and spent her invocations on learning various wild shape forms and boosts while she was wild shape that she could just stack on. So it was super cool. So that'll happen eventually. It's just part of the books that we're building right now. So stick around, and we'll be talking about it. Objects, your ability to handle objects is determined by the form's limbs. Worn equipment functions normal, but the DM decides whether it's practical for the new form to wear a piece of equipment based on the creature's size and shape. Your equipment, in addition, choose whether equipment falls in your space, merges into your new form, or is worn by it. Worn equipment functions as normal, but it doesn't resize, so it might not be useful. Like you could potentially put a helmet on a badger, but his face would be covered, so he wouldn't be able to bite, you know? It's not that people complain that they don't provide solid rules about this, but it's pretty straightforward. Like, you could theoretically have an alligator in plate mail because its legs are side slung like shoulders are, but a deer wouldn't be able to wear full plate because it would require barding, which is a horse thing, right? A bear, as long as you stay on your hind legs, you'd be able to potentially have armor on, but you're going to be clumping around as a two-legged bear. It's pretty intuitive, I think. Like, if you have a necklace, if you're big enough to carry the necklace as a necklace, like a bear could have a necklace, a deer could have a necklace, like a crocodile could have a necklace. That's fine. And you would still be able to use that. So, anyway, my opinion. I just think people, sometimes, I think people are critical about WotC about the wrong things. So, a lot of times people complain about stuff that it's just common sense and helps define the flavor of your campaign. Other times, it's like, why do you introduce features that completely train wreck the game? But I guess that's my opinion, right? So, I've got an asshole just like everyone else does. So, you're welcome to banter with me or contest me on any of the things I say, but do it in my Discord. So I can take time to form, good responses without feeling like I'm in some sort of a zinger online. But yeah, you're welcome to debate me. Just jump into my Discord and do it. Objects. Your ability to handle objects is determined. Okay, we talked about that. And then there's Wild Companion. You can summon a nature spirit that assumes an animal form to aid you. As a magic action, you can expend a spell slot or use a wild shape to cast a Find Familiar spell without material components. When you cast the spell this way, the familiar is fey and disappears when you finish a long rest. Duration instantaneous. Instead, it's how you familiar bonus action gain. I must go. You can't have more than one familiar at a time. If you cast the spell while you have a familiar, you instead cause it to adopt a new eligible form. You can temporarily dismiss it. When the familiar drops to 0 hit points, it disappears. It reappears after you cast the spell again. As a magic action, you can temporarily dismiss the familiar into a pocket dimension. Alternatively, you can dismiss it forever. As a magic action, while it is temporarily dismissed, you can cause it to reappear in an occupied space within 30 feet of you. When the familiar drops to 0 hit points or disappears into the pocket dimension, it leaves behind in its space anything it was wearing or carrying. Thank you. One familiar at a time. If you cast the spell while you have a familiar active, it changes shape. You gain the services of familiar, a spirit that takes an animal form, appearing in an unoccupied space within range. Statistics of beast, familiar within 100 feet of you. I'm looking for a duration. It doesn't look like it has one, so it's basically permanent. Okay, and this one. Now, okay, so Find Familiar normally isn't on the Druid spell list, so now it is. Use a wild shape to you can summon a nature spirit and assume an animal form. As a magic action, you can expend a spell slot, or use a wild shape to cast a Find Familiar spell without material components. There's my door. When you cast this spell this way, the animal is fey and disappears when you finish a long rest. Okay, so the way that we have second level features like this, like Wild Shape and Channel Divinity, it's 2 mana. So it costs you 2 mana to gain another use of it when you normally wouldn't have access to it otherwise. So Find Familiar without having to use material components, costing 2 mana instead of 1, acceptable. The fact that you can spend a spell slot. Normally when it says you can spend a spell slot, that typically means a second level spell. Statistically, we look at it, and you've got 23 spell slots per day, right? And there's no way you're going to use your 9th, your 8th, and probably one of your 7th level spell slots to potentially cast it again. Though it could theoretically be possible that you would use your 6th and your other 7th, and you got 2 6th and a 7th at 20th level. So at 20th level, you've got 23 spells you can cast per day. If you have a ranger, for instance, has 40 mana per day. And as we talked about before, if you're using your character, if you're using the spell point system and you're full caster, and you're going up to 10th level, 40 of your mana is going to be devoted to casting your high magic, 6th level and above. So that means that you have 40 points left over, just like a ranger has 40 points on a long rest. So, 2 points to regain your animal companion as a ranger, 2 points to get back your Channel Divinity feature here, 2 points for you to be able to get Wild Shape again, when you normally wouldn't have access to it. And so it makes sense that if you were to spend a spell slot to regain use of this feature, the default setting we have in the game already is 2 mana. The fact that you can cast this spell without any material components at all is better than 1st level, hence 2nd level. All of that curves together to be the same. It's a consistent system. There's always something that happens in the rules that explains that, like, yeah, this is worth more than 1 point, even though this character gets it at 2nd level. So I'm really, really happy that seems to consistently always work out. So I'm really happy about that. You can... The power of nature allows you to assume. You can assume the form of an animal. You can assume the form of an animal as described in the player's handbook. That. So I'm just simplifying by saying all the rules are as they are listed in the player's handbook. Go there, look at it. But in addition, you can use this feature twice. You regain one of its expended uses when you finish a short rest, and you can regain one use by expending 2 points of mana. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. You gain additional uses when you gain levels as listed in the wild shape column of the Druid progression table. And now, Wild Companion. Not big changes, but we have to be thorough. Hey, what's up? Oh, Rhino Man. Thanks a lot for hanging out. You too. If I catch you again, looking forward to it. Well, companion, you can summon a nature spirit. You can cast Find Familiar as described in the player's handbook. You can... Wrong button. When you expend 2 mana by expending a use of your wild shape feature or 2 mana. Period. There you go. That's all I need for that feature. So let's go to the next one, see what happens. Wild Resurgence. Once on each of your turns, if you have no uses of wild shape left, you can give yourself 1 by expending a spell slot. Okay. When does that come in? 5th level? Okay. Sure. You can regain the use of a wild... you can regain 1 use of wild shape by expending 2 mana. No action required. There. So we're going to go to level 2 variant, Wild Companion. Modifies Wild Companion. That's ultimately going to be unnecessary to have that redundancy there, but I'm leaving it there just because. And we have level 5 variant, Wild Resurgence. Is that it? Why we need to wait till 5th level to be able to do that, I'm not necessarily sure, but for now, we're just going to leave it in place. Modifies Wild Resurgence. At 5th level. You can, during your turn, you can expend 2 mana to regain a use of your wild shape feature. No action required. I'm pretty sure the reason why they worded it as no action required in parentheses instead of integrating it as natural language, such as during your turn, you can expend 2 mana to regain. You can during your turn without taking an action, during your turn with no action required, you can expend 2 mana to regain a use of your wild shape feature. Period. So I'm pretty sure they put it this way, no action required, because during your turn, with no action required is longer than parentheses, no action required. So I think they put it at the end there so that they could have text fit on a single player's handbook line. I don't know if that's true or not because I use the internet, so I don't know the actual size of the page, but that would not surprise me if a full word count ended, like if they had used another word in this description, it would have created a widow that they would not be able to resolve. So I suspect that's why they did this. Like sometimes you see a weird wording like that just because a weird exception pops up in the document. And I think I just ran out of page space. I sure did. Let's expand, Mother Hubbard. This is fun. I love doing this stuff. Okay, let's see. Is there another thing that we get to mess around with here? Elemental Fury. The might of the elements flows through you. You gain one of the following options of your choice. Potent spellcasting. Add your wisdom modifier to damage. Primal Strike. Once on each of your turns when you hit a creature with an attack roll, be it using a weapon or beast form's attack. I love that they did that. You can cause the target to take an extra X damage. Improved Elemental Fury. 10 levels later. The option you chose for Elemental Fury grows more powerful. Cast a Druid cantrip with a range of 10 feet or greater. The spell's range increases to 300 instead. And weird. Why don't they group these things? Why did they do that? Why didn't they group them together? Primal spell casting, 300 feet, and when you cast a Druid cantrip. What? Oh my God! Do you see that? Wizards, you're drunk. Go home. Seriously, you guys got to fix your website. All right, okay, well, there it is. Beast spells, 18th level. When you use Wild Shape, you can cast spells in beast form, except for any spells with a material component with a cost specified on that, or that consumes its material component. Got it. Because you absorb the costs, or you can't handle them as an animal. And if it's a consumed item, they have to have it on hand for it to get consumed. So basically what this is saying is that you can only use material components that are in your 6 demon bag that gets absorbed into your body's form or still hangs around your neck. Either way, you don't actually have to manhandle those things. It's just a focus. So I see why they do that. And I am in favor of it. The vitality of nature constantly blooms within you, granting you the following benefits, listed thrice. Evergreen Wild Shape. Whenever you roll initiative and have no uses of Wild Shape left, you regain 1 expended use of it. Okay. You can convert uses of Wild Shape into spell slots. Choose a number of your unexpended uses of Wild Shape and convert them into a single spell slot, with each use contributing 2 spell levels. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? I told you, 2nd level spell for spell slots. Ah, ha, ha, ha. I feel so vindicated. Longevity. The primal magic that you wield causes you to age more slowly. Okay, fine. The vitality of nature constantly blooms within, granting you all the following benefits. We'll go with Archdruid. I've never looked at this before. This is the first time I actually read that feature, and I am thrilled that it's 2 mana. You can. This is going to be Evergreen Wild Shape. You can. Is that a magic action or is it a free action? Oh, Nature Magician. Sorry. You can convert uses of... I'm just going to gank this real quick and modify it. Gank. Copy. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, that's a shame. You only get 4 wild shape uses. I was about to sniggle if you got 5 wild shapes, because 5 times 2 is 10, and at 20th level you have access to 10th level spells. That would have been too fucking perfect. Oh my god, that's gorgeous. But oh well, I'm fine with this. I'm still calling today a huge victory for Phil. This is a big day for Philbo. Good job, Philbo. Loving it. God, I love this shit. So good. So good. Patting myself so hard on the back, I just broke my spine and my shoulder. You can convert uses of Wild Shape into mana. You can convert. Uses of Wild Shape into mana, into mana. 2 points. Regaining. Two points for each use spent this way. And of course, you can get them back for 2 points too. Perfect conversion. There. Okay, that's the Druid. Hot daggity dig. I am very much looking forward to getting into the subclasses and integrating all of this. Just rebuilding it. God, rebuilding this book is going to be so freaking fun. I am very much looking forward to that. But I'm also going to cut stream for now. So I've been at it for an hour and a half. I'm going to be back tomorrow. I I think around 1:30. I think it's around 1. Hold on, let me check my calendar here real quick. Give me a hot second here, and I'll see if I can fetch up my calendar here. RE. One second. Checking my calendar. Checking my calendar. Yep. So I'll be back on. I'll be back on at 1:30 tomorrow in Seattle, which will be 4:30 East Coast time. We'll revisit the Sorcerer. Since we already scaffolded the Sorcerer, God, yeah, we'll just drop it in here, and I guess just walk through the Sorcerer. We've done a fuck ton of work with it. Maybe we'll just spend tomorrow's session working on spell point sorcerers a little bit more as its own supplement, which means that we get to go into the subclasses for the Sorcerer because that's a separate book. Exceptions to rules. All right, cool. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow, guys. But I'm going to be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Seattle time, which will be 9 a.m. in the rest of the world. And that'll be about a little more than 10 hours from now. So I'll be back then. And so if you think this shit's cool, stick around. I'd love to have you. Like, subscribe, jump in my Discord, check out my Patreon. Definitely look at all my books down below. And I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Thanks a lot.